So there we've got it. Rishi Sunak is now trying very hard to scupper the plans of the Labour Party, which was that they would push forward the idea that the election was going to be in May, so they could then wag their finger and say to Rishi Sunak, "Oh dear, you chickened out, you aren't holding the election in May." It now turns out that's not going to happen anyway. Rishi Sunak has now said that he's working on the assumption that the election will be in the second half of this year, which means October, or even, if he can, push it as far as December. So the he has quite successfully got round the Labour ruse, and that is rather brilliant of him, I must say. I take my hat off to Rishi Sunak and his stealth. But it doesn't stop him, as Keir Starmer says, squatting in Downing Street for months on end. Squatting doing what? I hope it's not an inappropriate squat. Otherwise, there'll have to be some deep cleaning done once Labour gets into power. And so Ed Davey has said that Mr. Sunak is a squatter, holed up in Downing Street, desperately clinging on to power rather than facing the verdict of the British people. Well, when it comes to facing the verdict of the British people, Sir Ed Davey needs to look at himself very carefully in the mirror and say, has he faced up to his responsibilities when he was in charge of the Post Office, when he was the Minister for the Post Office? No, he hasn't. I think basically at this moment, the less said by Ed Davey, the better, don't you? Don't you agree? And he said, Sir Ed has said that he's bottled a May poll. So he's trying to get the rhetoric in that he was saving up for May, and indeed that Sir Keir Starmer was saving up for May, but they can't because Sir Keir Starmer has bettered them in this. I'm not saying Keir Starmer. I'm not saying Rishi Sunak is right. I'm saying Rishi Sunak has been very clever, but we know that he's a clever boy. He's one of the cleverest prime ministers that we've had. Clever does not mean able, and it doesn't mean morally right. Clever means clever. He is clever. And I'm sure there'll be some comments saying, Rishi Sunak is not clever. If he were clever, he would have done... He may well be inept. He may well be foolish. I would probably even use the word stupid, but on paper... he is extremely clever, and is probably one of the cleverest prime ministers that we have had in office since Harold Wilson. Full stop.